Sometimes when you're in an IEP meeting, and again, there's a disagreement going on about what the parents perceive and what the school district perceives or one or two team members perceive, it can get heated. And sometimes very heated, and I usually think that that's a recipe for disaster. You're going to not end up with a positive outcome if everyone's really getting angry with one another, and unfortunately that does happen. So good response in a moment like that is, especially if there's an item of the past, a long-standing disagreement that has come up year after year at the annual review, or maybe every meeting you've had with the team that year or for several years, and then it's getting into what he said, she said about a meeting that happened a year ago or 2 years ago. Well, that's why we wanted to do that evaluation, because we've been concerned about this for a very long time, and that's why 6 years ago I mentioned that. That's not terribly helpful to get into at an IEP meeting. What has happened in the past?
History.
Yeah, it just isn't useful. There are times where you have to, but I find it's generally unproductive. So when you're getting into a moment like that where you feel like everyone's just getting into an old argument about something that's over, it's really not the place. So the IEP meeting is not the place to resolve past disputes. It really isn't. So what I will often say is, this really isn't the forum for that. There are other places where we can have that dispute. That usually stops the argument. Now, when it comes from a lawyer, it has a different tone, obviously, because there's an implication there that perhaps we will be in another forum like litigation. So it depends where it's coming from. But I think it really is a useful way to say, you know what, there's no judge here, there's no hearing officer here, there's no third party at that meeting who's going to say whether you're right or they're right, or I've looked at everything and my judgment is X and such. Ultimately, you haven't come to an agreement. There's not a lot of utility in just going over it again and again. So that's a good one. It's just to say, you know what, this isn't the forum for that.